Hey folks, welcome back to the farm. It's supper time and I've had a craving for a few days, and it's something that probably helped us win a couple wars. So come along, we'll show you what that is. So what I've been wanting to make and what I've been craving is called S.O.S. And most of you will know what that is, but if you don't, the first word is a four-letter word. It starts with S, and the next two words are on a shingle, which is technically four words, I guess. But we're going to make that tonight. We're going to show you how it was made back in the day, and we'll show you how we're going to make it tonight. So you can imagine when people are in the military and they're out in the middle of the ocean or out in the middle of nowhere, food's kind of limited and they got to put together what they can to feed the troops and stuff like that. And one of the more popular dishes was S.O.S. because they had the canned meat, it was like chipped beef, and they had powdered milk that they would use because powdered milk's a lot lighter and takes up a lot of space than like canned milk. And they would make like a gravy with that and then pour it over the shingle, which would be a piece of dry toast. Much like this one right here. Now, if you've been with the channel, you know we canned beef last year. And what we do when we get our beef, like half a beef here in Nebraska, all of the round roasts, which is the rear of the animal, it's so lean that I don't keep those and I can that stuff because it is so lean. And that would be a perfect beef to make this dish. However, I'm out of that right now, so I'm going to use some of our canned ground beef. There's our canned ground beef. And then we're going to use canned milk, which would be very similar to what they used. Not a lot of ingredients in this dish. Now, if you wanted a very similar texture to what they used to make in the military, go get you like a pound of sliced roast beef from like the deli and then dice that up. And that would be very similar to the texture that their canned beef, their chipped beef would be. So let's get this started. Here's our canned beef. Going to go in the skillet. You can see there's a little bit of fat that cooked out of the beef, but that's fine. That'll all melt again. Alright, we're going to get the fire on underneath our beef. Get it all warmed up. We usually use this beef for quick meals like tacos or something like that. Or we can make chili, whatever. But if we've been outside a long time, we don't have to thaw out the meat and all that. It's already pre-cooked. You pretty much just got to warm it up. So once this loosens up and warms up, we'll go with our next ingredient. Okay, our beef is warmed up. So we're going to make a little well in the middle here. And we're going to throw in a half a stick of butter, which is a 1/4 cup. And we'll let that melt. Now, while we're waiting for our butter to melt, I took our 2 little 5-ounce cans of evaporated milk, poured it in our 2-cup measure, and then I added enough cool water to come up to 2 cups, because that's the ratio we use, remember, for when we're making gravy. And evaporated milk needs a little water added to it to bring it back to where it was before it was evaporated. Okay, the butter is melted. So now we're going to go with an equal part of flour, 1/4 cup butter, 1/4 cup flour. Now you don't even have to use butter, you could use olive oil. Use any fat you want. Just got to have fat and flour. So we'll stir this until all the flour is incorporated and it's not white anymore. And then we'll start stirring it into our beef. And now that that's all incorporated, we're going to add our 2 cups of milk all at once. That's going to cool your pan down a little bit. We're going to put it on low now. We've been on medium. And then once this mixture comes back to a boil, it will thicken up because of that roux we made with the butter and the flour. Now we're going to get some black pepper in the mix here, because every good S.O.S. has plenty of black pepper in the mix. We'll start with about that much. Now the beef has a little salt in it when we canned it, so we'll taste for salt once this comes to a boil, and if it needs salt, we'll add some salt. Now this is the type of recipe that you can really change up, and sky's the limit with this, really. Remember, when you're making like a gravy or a sauce like we did here, you can use any liquid. You can use beef broth, chicken broth, milk, whatever, water even. Change up your fat. Sky's the limit. Throw some mushrooms in here if you want, some onions, some other kind of aromatics, some thyme or some herbs. You can go crazy with it. If you throw mushrooms in it, you could put a little sour cream in it. You'd almost have a stroganoff tasting dish. Would be really good. Go crazy with it. You want to stir this mixture as it comes up fairly often, and do something that's got a flat edge on it so you can scrape the bottom of the pan, because you don't want to scorch. The bottom of the pan is going to get thicker first, so you want to keep it stirred up. Now the fat and the liquid is not the only thing you can change up. You can change up the meat in this dish if you wanted. You could use bacon, you could use turkey, you could use chicken, pork, whatever. If you put some breakfast sausage in here, a pound of breakfast sausage instead of some other type of meat, you've got sausage gravy for breakfast. It's the exact same process. You can see our mix has thickened up nicely. So it's done. We're going to turn the fire off. As it cools, it'll even thicken some more. So if you let it sit too long, it'll get real thick. You need to turn the heat back on and maybe add a little bit more milk. Otherwise it gets really, really gloppy after a while. So let's taste it for salt. Needs a little bit. We'll put in about a half a teaspoon. Stir that in and try it again. Alright, that tastes exactly as I remember. Now, if I was eating this by myself, I would put a little cayenne pepper in here just to spice it up just a little bit. But I can do that afterwards too on my plate. There it is, folks. S.O.S. Just like I remember it. Let's give it a try. Looks yummy. Just like I remember. Very easy to put together with the materials and the food that they had. Being a long ways away, like out in the middle of the ocean and stuff. I'm sure the Navy's not the only one that made this. Probably Army cooks and Marine cooks, all of them probably made this. That'll satisfy you for a while and keep you full. Now, back in the day, my mom used to do this same dish with tuna. She'd put like a can of tuna in the mix, and that was really good, cream tuna. I remember I really enjoyed that. And if you don't want it on toast, just make you some biscuits. Put it over a biscuit. Just as good. So I hope you try this recipe if you've never had it. Little kids are going to look at it and go, ooh, that's gross, because they do that with everything. But it's really good. If you start them early, they won't know the difference. So, till next time, Stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Come back and see us again here on Markelly Farm.